Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. Former Republican president tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable. And with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power, electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that. The Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to IVF. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now. And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now. Our families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news, but news in 1,000 cities and towns, the American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise. But my predecessor, and many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing the Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before, and we'll stop you again. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger. I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic.
I'm optimistic. Yeah, I thought it was great. I did. I honestly thought it was great. I mean, listen, he made fun of how young he was when he came into the Senate. They told him he was too young. And now he's, at the other end of his career, but he's the president of the United States. And, he said, now you think I'm too old, but apparently it's like just right. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the guy has it was like watching him in his office. I mean, he worked there for 40 freaking years. He knows exactly, what he's dealing with. He knows exactly how, obstinate, recalcitrant. Can I just ask a question? What the hell was George Santos doing there? Security. What was he doing there? The Republicans removed him for fraud. The Republicans were so embarrassed by their own member that they actually told him to go home. We had a special election. The guy who held the seat before George Santos won the seat back, and George Santos is sitting at the State of the Union. I find this all, freaking fascinating. Really, I do. But you want to know one of the best moments? Yes, we'll talk about, Katie Britt. Rhymes with, right. That's what her performance was. You know who she reminds me of? Anybody watch The Handmaid's Tale? Anybody? Serena Joy Waterford, Mrs. Waterford. That's who she was. That's who she is. It's really creepy. I mean, they even look alike. If she would have pulled her hair back in a chignon, I don't know how to say that, a bun. If she would have just been a bunhead, everybody would have said, oh my God. And then you would have understood why she was whispering. Why was she whispering? She was whispering because the commander is in the other room.
I was annoyed by that whispering literally 5 seconds in. I had already had enough. She was very annoying.
We hear you.
We hear you.
And we stand with you.
Why is she whispering? Guess the kids are asleep in, the back of the kitchen. I don't know. What the hell was that about? Really, what was that about? That was so demeaning. She looked like a not just a Stepford wife. She looked like she had Stockholm syndrome. Do you know what I'm saying? She looked like she had fallen in love with her captors. I mean, it was just so strange. It was so weird. It was so Serena. It was so Waterford. It was just so handmade. It was just, and why do they go searching for these women who to play these roles of, a subservient woman? That woman is the United States Senator. You know what that means? That means that she ran for office statewide. Okay, it was Alabama, the state that produced Tommy Tuberville, that bastion of patriotism who refuses to promote people who have earned their promotion to, a general from colonel because he's anti-abortion. I don't know. This is Alabama, all right? And she's from there. But she's a professional politician. She ran statewide. She won a Senate race, and they put her back in the kitchen. And she did it. She did it. What the?
Women voters, I hope you're paying attention.
I really do.
They are showing you exactly.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And it's creepy, and it should make your skin crawl that no matter how far you've come, no matter how intelligent you are, she's very pretty, she's very smart, doesn't matter. If you want to succeed in their party, if you want to succeed in the MAGA party, and don't tell me it's the Republican Party anymore. It's not. And I know how. I feel like I'm in Belarus all of a sudden. Like today they're telling me Donald Trump has just made his daughter-in-law the chairperson of the Republican National Committee. I mean, the daughter-in-law is now in charge of the party. How communist are we going to let it go? How crazy is the Republican Party going to? They're not. It's the MAGA party. It's Trump's party. I mean, it seems so foreign. That doesn't seem real. And the daughter-in-law is on the TV saying, "If you're not loyal to my father-in-law, get out. You have no place in our party. Get out." What country do they intend to make us? Very sad, very sick, very, just amazing. Really, it was stunning. But I'll tell you why I think George Santos was there. George Santos was there because they don't want to seat Swazi. They don't want to seat the guy who won. The Republicans don't. And with their one-seat majority, maybe they can put George back. I have no idea. Like, what the hell would they be calling him to the State of the Union to disgrace their party yet again? Like, in what world is that something you would want to do? I don't know. But this was my favorite moment, and it started very early, okay? This was when Biden first arrived, and he was making his way down the aisle. There's no audio here. It's just take a look, see, and if you're not watching it on video, I apologize. It's very short. It's like 10 seconds. But look at Biden's face upon seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene, in her MAGA costume. She was wearing a MAGA like, who are you wearing? Steve Bannon. Look at his face.
Look over here, Mr. President.
Priceless, man. You can't fake that crap. You can't phone that in. Oh, and speaking of phoning it in, what happened to Truth Social? What happened to the low rent, D-list Twitter? What happened to his marginal, social media site? Oh, it crashed. Damn.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Say her name. Oh my God. She is a classless, low rent, mofo that just takes up space on the aisle, like real estate, valuable real estate on the aisle in her Steve Bannon outfit, designed by Steve Bannon, everybody. I mean, it's like, who are you wearing? White supremacy is what I'm wearing. That's the name of the label? No, that's my position. Anyway, say her name. That's what she was all about last night. Say her name, Laken Riley. Okay, first of all, I want to tell you this, okay? Laken Riley's parents were invited. And they were invited by a MAGA Congress member from Georgia, Mike Collins. And they declined because they don't want their daughter kicked around like a hacky sack between these parties as they grieve because their daughter was murdered. Their daughter, they lost her daughter. I had a murdered friend. It never occurred to me that I would go to a State of the Union to make the case for, a murder for hire people. Do you know what I mean? That the government was going to make murder for hire illegal or something, and I should. It's so sick. It's so sad. So anyway, her parents said no. They're not in the mood for this. Okay, but she wouldn't stop. Large Marge. She last year she dressed up like the balloon. She thought she looked like the Chinese balloon, and really she ended up looking like a polar bear's vagina in that big white hood thing that she was wearing. And this year she decided she was going to be the chief agitator about Laken Riley, whose parents don't want her used in this manner. And Biden was like, you know what? Fine. This is your entire purpose for being here tonight, is to make me say Laken Riley? Okay, I will. Oh, they're so rude. Say her name.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals?
Like none.
To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. Mm-hmm. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly.
That's right.
Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
Now, even on the delusional right, even in the Marge camp, even in the large Marge camp, even in the Byron Donalds, Florida, putting the duh in Florida, Byron Donalds, even in that camp, that had to make sense to them, didn't it? And that's exactly what James Lankford, okay, the uber conservative from Oklahoma, who decided he would do more than just pray about things, that he would actually get into a bipartisan room with an independent Kirsten Sinema, with Chris Murphy from Connecticut, and him, the most conservative senator from Oklahoma, and they would craft an immigration border security bill. Not a bill for amnesty, not a bill for dreamers, not a bill for a path to citizenship for people who've been here 20 years. No, just strictly border security. And appropriate money for more Border Patrol officers, 50,000 new beds, which he left out when he described what was in that bill, although he knows what's in that bill. The president does. 50,000 detention beds, 4,000 plus asylum judges, asylum officers, people qualified and able to hear the claims of asylum, while people are still in detention, meaning they would never get released into the interior, which is what we've been doing for, 20, 30 years now? This actually would solve the freaking problem, but they're not interested because they like the issue. They like exploiting dead nursing students in Georgia. That's what they're all about. Now, I'm sure Biden thought that they went ahead and accepted the invitation. However, the parents were not up in the gallery. They were not there. They said, enough already. Stop it. Our daughter is not a soccer ball, okay? You can't kick her around for your own partisan politics. We're not attending. But his answer was so spot on. Like, first of all, I lost a child. I understand, okay? I do. I get it. 2, Marjorie, take this. I'm throwing it right back on your freaking face, this ugliness of yours. 3, think about it. If you passed this bill and you had more border security, number 1. Number 2, you had more asylum officers. Number 3, you had more detention beds, like 50,000 of them. Number 4, instead of waiting 6 years for a decision, now you could wait 6 weeks and adjudicate people in detention while they're still in detention. Oh, that makes too much sense. So, of course, they had to vote no. And, listen, let me tell you something. The idea that Biden, was sitting there with James Lankford mouthing, and James Lankford, the most conservative member of the Senate, the chief author of this bill, was sitting there saying, that's true, as Joe Biden was describing what was in this bill. Sean, what number is that? I don't see it. I know it's here, though. He was literally... Oh, he's not paying any attention. All right. Let me... I don't have my cut sheet. So, but, James Lankford was sitting there in the audience, and, Biden was, like, going through everything that's in this bill and telling them... you should really pass this bill. You should get it done. You should get it done. And Lankford's sitting there going, it's true. It's true. And still. And he made the best argument. I hadn't heard that argument. Have you heard that argument? I hadn't heard that argument that you wouldn't pay coyotes $8,000. You wouldn't pay, cartels or smugglers or any organized group to bring you over here for $6,000 to $8,000 if you knew you were going to last about 6 weeks? Who would do that? No one. The reason why people come here isn't because they're criminals. They come here because they're trying to get a decent paying job, doing work that they're good and qualified to do, whether it's, working in a meatpacking plant, jobs Americans do not want, or it's working in the fields, okay, and it's picking, strawberries or whatever, okay, so that they can send a few dollars home, let their relatives have, a couple of bucks, make a nest egg, and then when it's all over here after 6 or 8 years, go home and have a little bit of a future saved up. Buy a house. That's why people come here. But if they knew that they were only going to, that they were going to be adjudicated while they were in detention and never get released into the interior for 6 to 8 years, would they still be spending $6,000 to $8,000? No, I don't think so. And you could see it actually hitting people in the brain. Like, oh yeah, damn, that's a good one.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators.
Yep.
The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so?
That's James Lankford.
Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
true. There's James Langford, a conservative. That's true. I wrote it. I would know. The impediment is Michael P. Keaton sitting behind him there. The impediment is Mike Johnson, who just looks like a stuck-up, smarmy little, cynical dude from an 80s sitcom. I mean, really, and this is the crazy part. If Mike Johnson would stop being the impediment, if he would just get out of the freaking way and put this bill on the floor, guess what? His Republican conference actually contains within it enough votes to pass it with the Democrats. And that would be bipartisanship, just like it was in the Senate on this bill. And so you have little smarmy Mike Johnson sitting there, saying, no, why is Mike Johnson so, and here's a little note, Mike. Okay, here's a little tip for you, buddy. I know you don't have much experience and nobody ever heard of you, and now you're freaking Speaker of the House because the Republicans are in such disarray that after 4,892 votes, they finally elected Kevin McCarthy, and then they didn't like him, and Large Marge was able to take him out. And then they got stuck with like 455,822 more votes and ended up with you. And you are now the gatekeeper between common sense legislation on the border and Donald Trump, who rather have the issue. And so you won't introduce the bill into your own chamber, knowing that it would pass with your own party's votes. That ain't America. I don't know what country that is, but that's not America. And when you have your daughter-in-law in charge of the RNC telling the people in the RNC that they better pledge loyalty to your father-in-law, that's not America. I don't know what country they have in their head, but it ain't this one. Because if Mike Johnson was truly an American who just had a different view, or differed on policy, or differed on not the problem, but how to solve it, then he would have stood up when Biden said, "We are the United States of America." He would have stood up when Biden said that we needed to beat back Putin out of a democracy called Ukraine. Mike Johnson would have stood up when he said NATO got bigger. The North American Treaty Organization got bigger under this president, more powerful under this president, added 2 countries, is now 32 nations, all in it for each other. Article 5, all for one, one for all. He wouldn't stand up. The only thing Mike Johnson stood up for was Israel. That was the only thing he stood up for. He doesn't stand up for this country. He doesn't stand up for democratic values. He doesn't stand up for anything at all. He didn't stand up for border security. He didn't stand up for the United States of America. There's nothing we can't do if we do it together. He did. I mean, honestly, these people are in service to some other idea that we've never seen before. We've never lived under before. A government that is something completely strange, something completely, oh, dare I say it, foreign. Because they won't stand up. And listen, how they did this to this Katie Britt girl, I have no idea how they got her to pervert her own career. Not really sure. But then today she was repeating exactly what Donald Trump was saying, and Donald Trump's whole take on it, of course, was not heard because his D-list social media platform, his also ran media outfit, failed. It failed, and I know this because Howard was like already. He was all set to go, man. Had his Truth Social open, had his account up on the top, was ready to type, and he was going to, rage tweet back at, Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump, he was going to, I'll just say, Britt post all night, right? He was just going to, respond. And it didn't work. And Fox News, can you imagine having an entire bunch of networks, not just one, that are built around a fraud, a complete and utter loser? But that's what, because last night on Fox News, they were so ready to read the rage posts that Donald Trump was supposed to be, providing them with. And when the whole thing failed, they were sitting on their channel going, so Mr. President, so instead of reading what you were going to type, why don't you just call in, sir? Why don't you just call in? And they were talking to him. An entire network talking to one person, but it's not partisan. Holy crap. I've never seen anything like this in this country. Really, never have, and don't ever want to again. But here was Katie Britt. Here, let me just show you how hypocritical they all are, okay? Watch.
It's exactly what we thought it would be, and that's that he didn't talk about things that real Americans wanted to hear, that hardworking people wanted answers to, things that we talk about around this kitchen table every single day. He failed to mention or failed to give the time they deserved. I thought the anger and bitterness, what seemed to be some type of rage, was unbecoming of the President of the United States. And unfortunately, he used none of his time to bring America together and tell us how we could move forward. Instead, he used divisive language and tried to put every party firmly in their corner.
Which Donald Trump would never do. Donald Trump would never divide. He would never disrespect the presidency by using, a strong, aggressive language. No, let me show you this. This was Donald Trump pre-State of the Union. This was his post before the whole thing crashed, okay?
Crooked Joe Biden and the people that surround him, and they are radical left Marxists and fascists and communists and socialists. We have people running our country, the likes of which we have never seen before. He and the communists and his party looted trillions of dollars from you and spent it on illegal aliens and the Green New Scam.
That's very unifying. It certainly isn't angry. It certainly is unifying. It certainly doesn't disrespect the presidency, does it? See, this is the this is the crazy part. And how did they get her to sacrifice her career for that? To lie like that? To sit there and pretend that Donald Trump is a unifier, that he respects the office of the president? What the?
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, Serena, take it away, Mrs. Waterford.
We all recall when presidents faced national security threats with strength and resolve.
COVID?
That seems like ancient history. Mm-hmm. Right now, our commander-in-chief is not in command. The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader. America deserves leaders who recognize that secure borders, stable prices, safe streets, and a strong defense are actually the cornerstones of a great nation. Just ask yourself, are you better off now than you were 3 years ago?
Good question.
4 years ago, let's see if we can do the math, it was 2020. You remember 2020? You and I were both here. Yeah. We were in the midst of the worst pandemic in 100 years. Yeah. Thousands of Americans were dying every day. Hospitals were overflowing. Morgues were overwhelmed. The dead bodies were being piled up in refrigerated trucks they had to bring in. We had mass graves being dug in New York City. And the president was suggesting that people treat the deadly virus by injecting bleach or shining UV light inside their body or taking a horse dorm. Tens of millions of people lost their jobs. The worst unemployment rate since the Great Depression. Across the country, millions of people turned to food banks, waiting in miles-long lines like this one. There was a genuine, palpable, ever-present sense of chaos and social unraveling throughout America, throughout its towns and cities. Do you remember that in that year, 2020, the murder rate rose nearly 30% in 1 year? A completely unprecedented spike in violence.
Look at that.
So just in terms of these objective metrics, a lot of things were going haywire in this country 4 years ago while Donald Trump was president.
So there, I think, would be the at least starting point if you're attempting to answer her question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Oh, hell yes. What is wrong with you, Mrs. Waterford? Just stop it. Cut the crap. And she's wearing like that green outfit on top of it. Just signaling that she knows. She knows. Oh, my God. And we're all going to be dressed up like the flying nun in the little, bonnet in the red dress. These people have something in mind, and it ain't democracy. And it's not freedom. And it doesn't have any relationship to either of those. It is literally this.
Deuteronomy 19:21 gives kind of the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, along with Exodus 9:6 and Genesis 9:6.
Oh my God. His name is Dusty. This is Musty. This is Musty Devers. Musty. I can smell him from here, this guy.
It is absolutely degrading and defiling, and it's domineering. It is controlling. And it's not as though it's free from a controlling higher power. That higher
principalities and powers.
That's exactly right. It's principalities, powers, and rulers of the air. And they are setting up and waging war against humanity.
Okay, do you know what he's talking about there? I should have, told you to gird your loins. He's talking about porn. That porn is answering a higher power. Porn is actually a devious plot. I just thought it was, a way to keep a marriage alive. Yeah, no. It's just so much imagination that you can muster up after, 25, 30 years of the same damn, I touch you there, you touch me there, cha-cha-cha, good night. But it's a devious plan, everybody. It's a devious scheming plan.
It is absolutely degrading and defiling, and it's domineering. It is controlling. And
what kind of porn are you watching? I should ask him that. Domineering and degrading. What is exactly the DVD he rented that he's been watching for 20 years over and over and over again and making it like 13 seconds in? What kind of porn are you watching, Mr. Musty?
It's not as though it's free from a controlling higher power.
Oh.
That higher
principalities
power,
and powers.
That's exactly right. It's principalities, powers, and rulers of the air.
What?
And they are setting up and waging war against humanity.
What?
And what is good, right, and true is from God who created us. And so it is a power, it's a spiritual warfare. And these people are getting, anyone who gets caught up into pornography is caught up not just in a power of flesh and blood, but a power that they aren't able to control, that's degrading them and seeking to eradicate their use, their value, and true society.
Not everybody gets addicted to the porn, Musty. Not everybody does. What are you saying? What are you saying? That you want it to be free and it's not? I don't even understand this conversation, but it's all about porn. It's all about porn. This is all they talk about. This is all they think about. This is everything that roams around their empty little brains all day long. How to outlaw lying with biblical principles, seriously, and how to get you somehow to stop watching porn. What is wrong with him? This is what they. I don't know. But listen. She. The whole freaking thing. It's just everything is about social issues. Everything is about the culture war. Everything is about war. Even the Bible is about war. Has nothing to do with love. Has nothing to do with love thy neighbor. Has nothing to do with the Ten Commandments. Has nothing to do with the Sermon on the Mount. Has nothing to do with jealousy is not part of love. Has nothing to do with any of those messages. No. It's all about you can't, you won't, you shan't, you'll be punished. It's an eye for an eye. It's a tooth for a tooth. Lying, bearing false witness is punishable by death in their little realm of the universe called Oklahoma. I mean, honestly, cut the crap. Think about something bigger than your addiction. You know that guy is doing that. You know he is. I don't know what he's watching or touching or feeling. I have no idea. I don't care. I don't want to know. But he's not, he's not a bad-looking guy. He could probably get some somewhere. If he would just stop being such a stick in the mud. What?
I'm just thinking it's got to be tough to find somebody nice when you've got a thing for degrading and demeaning and leather
I don't
and
know.
collars.
Well, there's a place for that too. It's very.
There really
listen,
is. He's not looking hard
It's
enough.
a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort for a few seconds of whatever. I mean, look how long the gimp had to stay in that box in order for it to be a thing. It's a lot of planning. A lot of dressing, a lot of buying of things and arranging and planning and setting a stage and a mood and all that. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. But if that's what let him be into it. Why does he have to say, you know what, it's just too much for me to have to go through and I just can't and I need a nice person who's not going to make me do all this. And just say that. What is so hard about that? Oh, never mind. Vienna? Vienna with a A?
Yep. Yep. V-I-E-N-N-A.
V-I-E. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm from Vermont.
Okay.
And the sun came out today. I mean, we have had the darkest winter in my 70 winters. I've never had such a dark winter.
Really?
I got out of. It's been horrible. I got out of the hospital yesterday.
Oh, welcome
home. I went to
home.
watch. Excuse me?
Welcome home.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with RSV, but I'm getting there. Anyway, I woke up this morning, and the first time in months, the sun was out. Across the fields, there was frost. The horses looked, every day was absolutely gorgeous. And it just made me feel that little glimmer of hope. And
well, that's nice.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Randy.
That's really nice. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that there was something in your day that gave you a glimmer of hope. Hope is a great thing. It's a good thing. It's an important thing. The Republicans ought to hang a banner over the RNC, over their entire caucus, saying, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." Truly, they want hell.
Mary had a little man. We believe that all men are created
equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Right now, Shokasani, you've got the number.
We came in at 275,000. We were only looking for 200,000. That is much hotter than expected. We saw this again. We saw this in January. We saw this in December. We're seeing it again.
Oh! The economy is so freaking hot. It's so good. It was a soft landing. It's over. The economy is still adding jobs. There was no recession. Interest rates are going to be ticked down. Biden last night was talking about giving people sort of a mortgage credit, a mortgage tax credit. I don't think it's fleshed out quite yet. I haven't seen anything on it. I can't, fill you in on the details of it. But what they're thinking, the Democrats, what the Democratic Party is thinking about, middle-class Americans is, hey, maybe we help them buy houses. Maybe we do that. Hey, maybe we help them have rents they can afford. Maybe we do that. And maybe we actually give a tax credit to people who are saving for a mortgage, like $400 a month in a tax credit that they can use toward buying a home or trading up for a little more space. If I could quote the president. Exactly. Oh my God! See, this is what they think of. What is Trump thinking of? Trump is thinking of himself. Trump is thinking of Biden's a commie. Biden's literally calling people names ahead of the State of the Union. It's
Look
like
at Joe Biden
crooked.
and the people that surround him, and they are radical left Marxists and fascists and communists.
Which
and
is it?
socialists. We have people running our country, the likes of which we have never seen before. He and the communists and his party looted trillions of dollars from you and spent it on illegal aliens and the Green New Scam.
He's so full of it. It's just so crazy, man. It's like without any proof, without any numbers, without any background, without any information, without any being able to pass a single solitary fact check. The man just, and which is it? Are we communists? Are we socialists? Are we Marxists? Which one is it? Are we fascists? I don't know. Somebody has to clue me in. Like, when will he settle on the name he wants to call people who really are doing the hard work of helping the middle class be the middle class? He's going to have to come up with something that's a single horrible sounding governmental system, because it can't be all those. Fascism is not socialism. Socialism is not communism. I just pick one. Pick one, you freak. You disrespectful loser. The economy is so unbelievable. You can't even stop it. You can't even shut it down.
You just can't stop this economy from roaring. 275,000 new jobs.
And consider the fact you've got employers out there still hiring despite inflation, despite that you've got 24 states out there raising minimum wage, they're still hiring. So the thought that we are going to have this hard landing, it is not going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean that inflation doesn't persist. It doesn't mean that life's not expensive, right? That's why people, get frustrated when they say, I'm tired of hearing Stephanie talk about how great the economy is. Can I tell you how expensive things are at the grocery store?
Right.
And they are. But we have had the best economic recovery of anyone in the developed world. And if you say we're not, it's a joke, right? When you watch Republicans trying to say, are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Yeah.
The answer is definitively yes. Last night, Katie Britt tried to give an example, saying she met an old man at a gas station. And he was saying to her he had to work because it was either buy groceries or get medication. Well, guess what? Under Joe Biden's administration, that medication, drug prices have been renegotiated to be lower. SNAP benefits were expanded because of inflation. So, yes, life's expensive. And the president can say, well, I've delivered for you, sir. So when you're watching the Republican argument about how difficult the economy and how bad it is, the facts just don't bear out for it.
No, they just don't. SNAP benefits got larger. Drug costs got smaller. Last night he was talking about, capping the cost of 500 additional prescription medications. Okay, 500 additional. Right now, that there's a cap. If you're in Medicare, he would like to do it for everybody, every diabetic, every insulin-dependent being. He would like to do it for. Right now, Medicare can negotiate with the big pharma the price of insulin, a 100-year-old drug that literally cost them $10 to make. And now they're allowed to sell it, but capped at $35, which still has a nice profit margin built into it. But they can't gouge you. So $35 is what Medicare pays for insulin for people who are insulin dependent. There are other drugs, some big pharma, biologics that they're so expensive that it's almost like, I can't even try it. I can't even, afford it. Except that now Medicare out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions are capped at $3,500 a year. That used to be like a quarter of what one of these miracle drugs cost for a month. He's on your side. They're lying because they need you to hate. They need grievance. They need hatred. They need racism. They need the border desperately. The border has to be chaotic. It can't be solved. You can't pass this piece of legislation. Although I will say, in an election year, there are plenty of Republicans, plenty of them, that would vote for this particular package. simply because it actually solves a good, solid 80 to 85% of the border problem. Okay? It just does. And they know that. And they would vote for it. And that's why Mike Johnson sits there with that smug little smirk on his face. You know, just sitting there with this horrible little attitude. He looks like a seat filler at the Oscars. You know what I mean? He doesn't belong there. You just look at all the statesmen and that rogue gallery, you know, the tableau behind Biden, okay? Mike Johnson just didn't belong there. You know, he looked uncomfortable. He looked awkward. He looked silly. He looked stupid. The smirky faces, you know, somebody really needs to pinch him and say that when there's something positive said about your country, you stand up in spite of your politics. Oh, just unbelievable. So the feisty old guy turned in a stellar performance. I mean, he did everything this side of calling the Republicans snot-nosed punks. He did everything he could except say, get off of my lawn, and call them an impediment to progress, okay? I mean, these little, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Biden, I'm thinking of my parents, you know, okay? Honestly. And I'm thinking, all that's missing, you know, like my mother. My mother was hysterically funny. Some of you know that. So, I mean, she would look at like Marjorie Taylor Greene and she would call her a hophead. You know what I'm saying? And only people who remember hacky sacks know what hopheads are, okay? Only people who, because Marjorie Taylor Greene last night, I swear to God, she just, she wore a costume and showed up on bath salts. I mean, really. She looked like a Floridian, you know, like a white Florida trash girl who would eat your face on a Saturday night because of the flocka. You know what I'm saying? She just, these people do not belong in the seats that they occupy. They don't belong taking an oath to protect and defend because they won't. They don't belong in the United States House. They don't. They're gerrymandered in there. I mean, everything with them is cheat. And why would that be? Because their policies suck. Nobody likes them. Look, they tried to ban IVF. Now they're trying to say, we have to ban porn. Porn is the devil's work. Again, what, Elvis? Are we back to that where, you know, Elvis swivels too much and, you know, it's the devil's work there?
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in.
Yeah, well,
I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you. If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know.
Is he telling the truth? Is it true that the GOP who voted against the infrastructure bill, is it true that they're taking credit for the projects and the money that's flowing into their states? Yes. That is Congresswoman Maria Salazar from the great district that represents Miami, saying that, so sometimes I need to ask my staff. I need to know. I don't know. I don't know if I voted or I did not vote. Yes, let me refresh. Let me refresh, because I have it written down here. My name is Jim DeFede. Perhaps you know me. I am the political reporter of note in South Florida. Everybody who follows politics knows me. I've been doing this with you for at least 25 years. You know I have a list of every single appropriations bill that you voted no along party lines on, and then came down to Miami and took credit for it. You know I have that list. Okay, maybe you got me. Maybe you do. Tell me. And he does. That's what Biden was talking about. And if you don't want that money, if you're voting no because you don't want that money, just step up to the plate and say, I don't want that money. I voted no, and when that money gets appropriated, cut me out. Cut me out because I'm not for it. I'm not for it. And, you know, every time now, I want you to remember this, every time Donald Trump says we're a third world country, which is disgusting, disgusting. But every time he says we're a third world country and you should look at the airports, just know that the infrastructure bill that she voted against and a whole host of Republicans, in fact, I think it was a party line vote against, they are taking that money and improving their airports with it and then complaining about their airports and then complaining about money being spent. And having Donald Trump say, he stole trillions of dollars from you for the green projects and gave it to, I don't know, what did he say? Illegals? Aliens? What did he say? Just so disgusting. They are so ugly. They are so divisive. They are such liars. GOP, gaslight our people. Truly. Joe in Houston.
Hey, Randy, I'm rolling down up highway. Just you got my side cracking from side to side, man. A couple of things. The beguiled. I feel like the beguiled. I'm sure you know who the beguiled is.
Yes.
Are they up for grabs? The deplorables aren't going anywhere.
No.
I wanted the beguiled.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The only poll that matters is yours and the one that's taken on Election Day. Right, Joe? Right. Okay, Joe on Long Island. Another Joe. Oh, Joe. Hey, Joe. Okay. Linwood. I didn't. What?
She always told me that the Biden looks slow. He slurs his words. You know, I'm not too sure of him. But she's a Democrat. She's going to vote for him no matter what.
Who?
But after last night, Caesar was ecstatic. She couldn't believe how. Because I told her. I said,
Wait.
Every day.
Joe. My bad. I didn't hit the button properly. I missed the whole front of what you were saying. Who is she in this conversation?
Oh, Bobby, my sister-in-law, Bobby. She lives in Bryan County, Florida. I love this woman. She's gorgeous. But she always said that she thought Biden was a little slow. She always saw him. She's a Democrat through and through.
Right.
And then she saw him last night. She says that she was ecstatic.
Oh,
she couldn't believe it. And I said, Bobby, we don't see him day to day. We see him when he's on the podium. Yeah, so what? He slurs a word or he misspeaks. I do that all the time.
I do too. That's why I don't understand. Why does that make you not able to be president? I mean, look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump does it all the time, and nobody says a damn word about it. It's if you speak for a living, okay, you do public speaking, you're gonna slur sometimes. You're gonna forget a word. You're gonna drop a syllable. It's gonna happen.
Right. And another thing I want to tell you, Trump, since leaving office, he collected from his donors almost $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, and he spent it all on his legal fees. I mean, the guy spent...
Oh, my God, this guy, he doesn't have to work anymore.
Listen, he has a lot of trouble. He owes $500 million, okay? And today he finally found, I don't even know where this money is coming from, but somebody put up a $91 million bond for him in the E. Jean Carroll matter. So now he can...
Yeah, RNC.
So, was it the RNC?
That's what I'm betting on.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know where the
daughter-in-law's in there now.
No, I know. This is not America. The daughter-in-law of the... I mean, and she's like, you either take a loyalty pledge to my father-in-law or get out of the party. I mean, what country is this?
Hey, Randy, did you ever see the exchange between Eric Sewell and Hunter Biden?
Who?
When he asked them questions where he was saying to Biden, Hunter, were you ever employed by your father at the White House? Did you ever make $2 billion? It was wonderful. You got to read that transcript.
Oh, about Jared.
Yeah, about Derek.
Yeah. Jared, not Derek.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that. Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Oh! I guess we know what we need to do, because I'm so sick of looking at Serena over there, okay, telling us that, IVF is evil. They really, honestly, are on the wrong side of all of these issues, and they know it. And so the lying is about to start. The lying about banning IVF, the lying about the women who are dying because they are bleeding out in parking lots because doctors are afraid to be, rounded up and prosecuted for murder. Alabama, that's where, Britt, that's where she's from. Okay, Alabama's Supreme Court is the Supreme Court that actually said that IVF was disallowed under law because a zygote, a bunch of dividing cells in a petri dish, are persons, humans. They are the same as you and me, and they must be protected. And they can't be willy-nilly used to help women start families, because some of them will die, and that there is murder. So let me tell you something. Alabama acted really quickly this week, and what did they do? Did they deal with the fact that they say that a petri dish of dividing cells is a person just like you and me? Oh, no. Oh, hell no. They left that personhood definition in their decision. But they just told IVF clinics, we won't arrest you. What does that mean? That means they're not going to arrest doctors. They're not going to arrest, physicians. But what about the women? Huh? What about them? Yeah, it's an open question in Alabama. And that's why you had that handmaid there. Well, she wasn't a handmaid. She was the commander's wife. Sitting there telling you that Donald Trump doesn't embarrass the United States the way Joe Biden does. What? He doesn't disgrace the office of the presidency the way Joe Biden does. What? He doesn't divide the American people the way Joe Biden does. Are you insane? I understand you can't ask her what world you're living in because she's living in Alabama, where everybody is the same with regard to a man who is the nastiest, most, fourth grade schoolyard bully-ish person I have ever seen come down the pike, let alone be in a position of power in this here country. That's saying a lot because, we have George Santos's, okay? I still don't know what was he doing there. Why did they invite him? What is the dealio with that? And how does he show up? How does he have the temerity to show up? The guy was kicked out by a party that has no scruples or morals at all. You can do anything, just don't get caught. You can overthrow your own government, just don't get caught. If you do get caught, then we have to turn our backs. We have to disown you. But they invited him to the State of the Union. I was stunned. I was really stunned. I got to tell you, that just blew my mind. It blew my mind to see him there. And he was all bedazzled. And so, I mean, he tried to sell cameos and stuff like that. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel that, kicked his butt. Kept asking him, kept paying him the $35 or whatever, but asking him weird questions and making him answer them. And then playing them on his show. I mean, it was the greatest troll ever. Ever. But last night, you were so supremely trolled by this girl who, I don't know if she knows she's been used. I'm going to assume she does know because she's not a child. She's 42 years old. She ran for Senate, I know, in Alabama. But she's a senator. And they used her to lie and say that Biden was angry.
It's exactly what we thought it would be, and that's that he didn't talk about things that real Americans wanted to hear.
What?
That hardworking people wanted answers to. Things that we talk about around this kitchen table every single day, he failed to mention or failed to give the time they deserved. I thought the anger and bitterness, what seemed to be some type of rage, was unbecoming of the President of the United States. And unfortunately, he used none of his time to bring America together and tell us how we could move forward. Instead, he used divisive language and tried to put every party firmly in their corner.
Okay, suffice it to say that your guy is a grotesque fourth grade bully, okay?
Crooked Joe Biden and the people that surround him, and they are radical left, Marxists and fascists and communists and socialists. We have people running our country, the likes of which we have.
Okay, you get it, right? So right there, somebody put those words into her face, and she decided to go ahead and lie in that manner because she knows what Donald Trump is and how he talks, and that he's angry, and that he disgraces the office that he held for 4 years, and that he incited a riot against his own people, and that he, trashes anybody who doesn't pledge complete and utter fealty to him. Okay, she knows that. And so still she's saying those things about Joe Biden, and they are not true because last night, literally Joe Biden, and before last night, literally Joe Biden said to Donald Trump, out loud, in front of the largest audience he will have until the convention, join me. Let's do this together about the border bill, right? Join me. Let's do this together. He didn't bring anybody together. He didn't try to bring people together. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? It kills me that there's a generation of women who are in their early 40s who we're going to have to suffer through, who actually have no moral compass either, while claiming they're the moral majority. Not again.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody. This is the last segment before beer. Yes. John in North Carolina.
Oh, yes. How you doing?
Hi, John.
Your producer already tightened me up on it. I was calling in to say that today Trump got a bond secured by the Chubb Insurance Group.
Yeah, I'm just finding this out. I just found it out when you found it out. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got to put up his collateral of some sort. It's a publicly held company, so they have stockholders and everything to.
It's a what?
To account for. But if he doesn't pay it, they'll have to pay it. Of course, they can foreclose.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. I don't know what collateral he put up, but could have been Trump Tower for all we know. It could have been. But Trump Tower he doesn't own that building, just so everybody's
clear. I know it.
Right. just the apartment on the top floor and the stores on the bottom. But, it's still.
He also has the 10 units that he added on to it for the loan purposes.
Right. Right.
10 floors.
Right.
Remember, he went from 58 to 68 overnight.
Overnight, man. That is some construction company. I don't know how we, the genie actually, did that, but she's amazing what she can do.
May I ask you one question? You're in the know. You talk to people. It wasn't that long ago. I don't know how myopic we are, but that settlement that Fox came up with to Dominion.
Yeah.
Right quick when they saw the evidence and everything was clearly going against them and they were going to get hit with punitive damages real bad. It's close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
They admitted, Rupert Murdoch, and I've seen them, video depositions.
Yeah.
We knew they were lying, but we wanted the ratings. And that interoffice memo from, Carlson to Hannity when they called him bat doo crazy. And they knew they were lying, but they put them on. They had to admit that Sidney Powell was getting their information from a woman that listened to the wind. And
that's right.
Julio Chavez,
Yes.
And he was dead for 7 years, and then it was an Italian satellite.
Yes.
Well, doesn't that tell you that maybe they're not telling the truth? Maybe the election wasn't stolen.
Of course, it tells you because you're a lucid thinking, functioning human being. And it tells me the same thing. But you have people out there that can't hold the truth in their head because they've been so bathed and soothed by the lies that they get this cognitive dissonance thing where they just have to come up with an excuse about either why you're lying or why that's not true or why the 787 isn't really that big of a deal. I don't know. I mean, I've watched, The Good Liars go out. I've watched I've watched 1 million people interview these maggots, okay, and show them. I saw one.
They call them.
I saw one where they actually showed a videotape of Bill Barr on January 6th, about January 6th in the Select Committee. Bill Barr saying that he told Donald Trump that the idea that the election was stolen was a bunch of bull crap. Remember? And he said the word.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, I remember that. I watched
right. Okay, so they went and they showed that to a bunch of maggots who are still arguing that, January 6th didn't happen or it wasn't something Trump knew about, whatever. And that it was, the election wasn't stolen. And the guy, you should see his face. I mean, John, it's painful because you can see like the truth enters his brain for a brief moment and he has to reckon with it. And you can see it on his face and he's lost. He's so lost because the truth has penetrated. And then almost 30 seconds later it takes him. But 30 seconds later, he's going, that's not true.
Well, he's got people saying it, and I'm 4 years younger than he is, so I do know a little bit. He calls people, the Democrats, fascists and communists in the same thing. They're either that. Well, that's mutually exclusive.
Right,
I mean, George Santayana said, don't study history, repeat it. Remember Stalin versus Hitler?
Yes.
I mean, they don't know. Does he not know how stupid that sounds?
I don't know that he knows. I don't know what he knows. I don't care what he knows anymore. He actually had his chance. People said 8 years ago. Long time ago, they said, let's try something different. Okay? I understood it.
Right, I'm with you.
I knew that he was a fraud. I mean, I'm a New Yorker. He's a New Yorker. We all know about him. But they said, let's try something different. Okay. And then the man only had one crisis. He inherited a fabulous economy. Okay? Things were going great. He did nothing but lower taxes for the wealthiest Americans. That was the only thing he did. Okay? The only thing. And then one crisis he had. One. And he not only flubbed it, I mean, it's another F word you want to say, and 1 million people, and 1 million people died, and the economy crashed, and crime went through the roof, and people couldn't go to school, and people couldn't go to work, and the whole system broke down. The supply chains broke down. Everything broke down. People were wiping their bundas with freaking coffee filters, right?
I know it.
And they still want to give him another shot. And then when he lost, he literally attacked his own government.
Exactly.
So,
he authorized the sale of that largest refinery. Excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got to get this off. Down in Port Arthur, Texas.
After
Largest refinery in the world, Saudi Arabia. Remember, and they went on and they said they had to shut it down for maintenance when we were going through right after the election and stuff last time. I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, he's so stupid. He telegraphs what he's going to do every time. And this thing with Putin, And why he takes orders from him? Why does he kiss his you-know-what?
Well, you know who he's hosting tonight? I mean, this is really weird. He's
That
not
guy
even,
from Hungary.
Yeah, Viktor Orban, who is completely the puppet of Putin. I mean, that's the conduit. That's the go-between. That's the messenger. And he's
Right, and they're worried that he's going to pass along
of course he
state
is.
secrets, too.
Of course he is. They're still there. They're in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, he burned a bunch of our...
Well, Mark Meadows did.
Right, our assets, though, when he got information a week later after they provide them to him, they started dying and stuff. So our intelligence people don't know what to do about it.
I mean, this is so scary and it's so horrible and it's so easy to show it to people, but they just can't make themselves see. They can't. It just.
But I mean, I like that. You're from New York. All my friends are from New York and do business up there. They were saying way before the first time he ran.
Yeah.
They said everybody hates him up here.
They do. They do. I know of no one that likes him. Not even his wife. Okay. I mean,
where is she, by the way? I gotta
no
ask
clue.
that. I haven't seen her.
Nobody's seen her. Nobody's seen her. Maybe she's planning for Christmas. I have to do the effing Christmas. I don't want to do the effing Christmas, but I do the effing Christmas. So I get off my ass and I do the Christmas. I don't know. I don't know where she.
Oh, but anyway, I appreciate you talking to me.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you too.
I just heard that about the chub, but anyway,
Yeah.
you're on top of it.
Well, I heard it the same time you did, so thank you. Thank you for getting
I
it
enjoy
out
your
there.
show, so
Me too.
keep it up. Maybe if we
You
put the
keep
truth
it up.
out
You're
there.
the man. Take care. All right. Brother David.
Sister, if I had planned something to make me feel more positive, hopeful, and festive prior not only to Sunday's gay Super Bowl, but all the way through November, it couldn't have gone better than President Pop hitting it out of the park last night.
Yeah, he did a great job.
He had me from you can't love your country only if you win, all the way through facing off the disloyal opposition trying to discombobulate him, all the way through to nailing the landing with Israel Gaza and the way he brought it off. It was an 11. 2 optics and 1 request. The one optic is, it was so telling that to the right of the screen, you had She Who Must Be Protected at All Costs, looking calm, composed, getting a great workout from all the standing ovations, and basically looking like future chief executive material. And to the right, you had the Speaker of the House looking like a college sophomore sitting outside the dean's office in an Alexander Payne film.
Bingo.
Then, perjury, traitor, groan, why didn't she finish the outfit? Where were the gold shoes? I don't understand.
Yes, she missed the sneakers.
She missed the sneakers.
Damn it.
And then
maybe he really hasn't even made them. Like,
of course, yeah.
Like we were going to make the
zygote cozy.
Yes. Yes.
And one last, as I said to the chat room, hi chat room, did Katie Britt see Goody Proctor dancing with the devil? I don't know. Real quick, and this is for Jess,
a Scarlet Letter reference. Hester Prynne and the whole 9 yards. Wow, impressive.
A dear friend of mine is completing the official documentary on the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence called The Sisters Film, which is going to be a thing with all the trans stuff and the things we're still going to be fighting in the years ahead.
Yeah.
The website is thesistersfilm.com.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there.
All right. So,
and yes.
No, I was just going to recommend Barbara Streisand's biography or autobiography.
Oh, I read. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I just got through the Marlon Brando chapter. Who knew? Wow.
Who knew?
Fabulous. Now we're on to George Segal, which is good. Good for me. But wow. I had no idea. Anthony Newley.
Oh, yeah.
And Marlon Brando.
That part.
Elliot Gould never stood a chance. No.
Never stood a chance. Gorgeous girdles for everyone.
Thank you, my love.
Love you back.
Bye. All right. Good week, everybody. Good talk. Good talk, John. Seriously, dude, this should not really even be close, but it is. So know that, okay? But hold on to the hope that we got infused with last night, right, Vienna? Which is my favorite Billy Joel song, by the way. And if you've never heard it, Vienna, you really need to hear it. Have a good weekend.